Hi friends, welcome to your Independence Station for guided reading. Today is actually our very first day where you are completely independent without a teacher in your group with you. So I do just want to remind you of the expectations when you are working in your group by yourself. So if there is no teacher in your group, it's important to remember that your job is still to make your brain get smarter as you're at school. So with everything that we learn and every new thing that we try, we are constantly making our brain smarter and we are learning new things. So it's important that even if you're working in an independent group without a teacher, you're still remembering that that is your goal. Because as our brain gets smarter, our lives become even richer, which means that things start to get better. So we can be more successful when it's time for middle school and high school and college, and when it's time for us to get a job or have a family. So learning every single day really helps our brains get smarter and helps improve our lives. So what I'm going to do is this week I'm going to be going over with you a structure that you're going to start seeing for the rest of the weeks for the school year. So for this very first week, today is Monday, and we're going to be talking about what we'll be doing every Monday morning when we start guided reading. So the very first thing we'll do on Monday morning is review some sight words. So the materials that you'll normally need will be your whiteboard and your marker, because I'm going to show you some sight words on my whiteboard right here. And when I show you the sight words on my whiteboard, I'm going to have you write it on yours, but sometimes I might even challenge you to use them in a sentence. After we do sight words on Monday mornings, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hop into our story and we're going to continue reading. So the very first story that you guys have chosen is actually The Chocolate Touch. We're going to jump into this in just a second. But the expectation is that while you're watching this video and you're following along, you're sitting on your tush, your head is up, your eyes are on me because I'm the speaker, and we're following along with the story. I'll give you a job to do every single time when we're about to start our story, so you know what you should be listening for and thinking about while we're reading to help us with our comprehension or understanding of the story. Sounds good? Okay. So today we're not going to do any sight words because I really want to hop into this story. But on Mondays, normally we will do our sight words. So you will normally need your whiteboard and your marker for it. However, for today, I'm going to hop into this story with you. So this is a story that you all voted on, and it had the most votes out of all of the choices we had. This story is called The Chocolate Touch, and it's written by Patrick Skeen Caitling, and also it's illustrated by Margot Apple. So I'm going to give you a second to take a quick look at the cover. So authors and illustrators work together to help make the front of the book really exciting for potential readers. So when you're going to a library or you're looking through any set of books, whether it's online or it's in a store, you're going to want to look at the front cover of the book because that's going to tell you some things about the story. And it's really important that you're picking out stories that you're interested in reading or even ones that you might be a little bit curious about. Sometimes we have to read stories that maybe we're not the most interested in, but we can still learn things from them. So it's important to always have our listening ears on and our thinking brains going. So this story is called The Chocolate Touch, as I mentioned, and I just want to take a quick second to look at the cover of this book. I see a character on the front. It looks like he's surrounded by a lot of candy, and I see this box here that it's golden, which I don't know. To me, if I saw a golden box wrapped up like this shiny in front of me, I might be a little bit curious what would be inside. And I'm wondering, since it's called The Chocolate Touch, if maybe this might be a box of chocolates. But why would this box of chocolates be gold? It's a little bit peculiar, but this book already has me pretty interested. And then, if we turn the book around, we see something that's very similar to a book talk. And if you remember, book talks are when we discuss what we know about a book, but we make sure that we never give away the ending because that's a spoiler alert. And when you're shopping for a book, it can be really helpful to look at the back of books because you can read it and see if it's a story you're interested in reading. So I'm going to read aloud to you the back of this book so that you know what's going to be happening or coming up in the story and what types of things to start thinking about while we're reading. So it says, chocolate, chocolate everywhere. John Meadus loves chocolate. He loves it so much that he'll eat it any hour of any day. He doesn't care if he ruins his appetite. He thinks chocolate is better than any other food. But one day, After wandering into a candy store and buying a piece of their best chocolate, John finds out that there might just be such a thing as too much chocolate. So I'm noticing on here that the very first part says, John, meet us. So that must be our main character. And it did mention that he really liked chocolate and went into a chocolate store. And I'm noticing on the cover that there's this boy here, and it looks like he's inside of a candy store. So I'm wondering if maybe this is John, meet us. So what we're going to do today is we are actually going to start reading the story, but we're going to open it up because there's another little trick that authors use. And authors use this trick sometimes to get their readers thinking about the story, but also to get them engaged and excited about it. So sometimes if you have your book and you turn it, you'll notice that there is actually already part of the story here. And sometimes this part of the story comes from a chunk within the story that the author felt was really exciting and would grab your attention. Sometimes it's called a preface or a preface, and it's basically something that happens before the story. So what we're going to do is we're going to read this section today, and I want you to be thinking about what the author is trying to tell us and why they would put this at the beginning of the book. Because the author did this on purpose. They wanted us to either get excited or start thinking about something. So I'm wondering what will happen to you after we read this first part of the story. As the wrapping piled up around him, John became rather anxious. At last he came to a small central ball of cotton batting, and there, right in the middle, was a little golden ball. He picked at the ball with his fingernail, peeling away the gold paper, revealing a tiny piece of plain chocolate. It was the only piece of chocolate in the whole box. Deeply disappointed, John nevertheless put it into his mouth. He had never tasted a chocolate quite like it. It was the most chocolatey chocolate he had ever encountered. So I'm wondering if maybe the author put this in the beginning of the story to get us thinking about this strange golden ball of chocolate. Because we talked about the golden box, and that was kind of strange. The chocolate would come in a gold box. But now the author is telling us that there's actually going to be a small piece of golden chocolate, and then it's going to be the only piece of chocolate in the box. That seems a little peculiar or a little strange to me. Why would there only be one piece of chocolate in an entire box of chocolates? It's not like it was just like one chocolate laying around or like somebody had already opened the box. This very mysterious golden box of chocolates only had one piece in it. And when John tasted it, he said that it was the most chocolatey chocolate he'd ever had, and that was absolutely delicious. And he seems like an expert when it comes to chocolate. So I'm wondering, what is so special about this piece, and what is going to happen after he eats this piece of candy? Now remember, this story is a fantasy story, which means something's going to happen in it, or a lot of things are going to happen in it that couldn't happen in real life. So right now, what I'm going to ask you to do is either click the link in the description of this video or click the link from my schedule to take the book survey. And what that means is you're going to open it up and you're going to see a question on there asking you to make a prediction about what will happen to John after he eats that piece of chocolate. So go ahead and either click the link in the description or go back to my schedule and click the link there. And I want you to type in what you think will happen after John eats that piece of chocolate. Okay, there you go, friends. See you later.